a Russian nuclear sub this week, raising plenty of questions, including what the spy sub was doing when the flames broke out. Several news outlets, including the Washington Times, now speculating the sub may have been on a secret Russian mission, looking to tap into or cut underwater fiber optic or internet cables that span the Atlantic and Arctic sea lanes. Big deal. The incident coming amid several major outages this week, affecting the likes of Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and yes, Verizon. Joining me now live is Florida Congressman Michael Waltz, former counterterrorism advisor to then Vice President Dick Cheney and a former Green Beret commander. Good evening, Congressman.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, but I'm scratching my head wondering, what were the Russians really up to here?
Well, you know, just to take a step back for a moment, I think most people think the internet's in the cloud. It's really under the ocean. There are almost 400 of these cables. They're about the size of a really large garden hose that run several 100,000 miles. And our entire modern economy is dependent on these fiber optic cables, from banking to insurance to financial markets. And it's not just communicating with each other, it is how they actually access their data in data centers all over the world. So both the Russians and the Chinese have made it clear in their national security strategy that they are not going to take the United States on tank to tank or aircraft carrier to aircraft carrier. They are going to attack us asymmetrically. That's attacking us in space, cyber, undermining our confidence, our elections, or in this case, and what this sub was doing, very likely, was tapping into these cables to collect the data, to gather intel, and to put in place the ability to drop portions of the internet and to pull the rug out from under our modern economy if we ever have to go to any type of conflict.
Let's pick that apart. That's big stuff.
Just weeks ago, the U.S. intercepted 4 Russian bombers, 2 Russian Su-35 fighter jets flying too close to American airspace. This was near Alaska. According to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, the Russian aircraft were in international skies, but very close, approximately 200 miles off the Alaska's western coast. And Russia's Ministry of Defense confirmed the incident and said that its planes were in the region as part of scheduled training exercises.
Russia is pushing rapidly into the region with aims to control it before anyone else. Its military has built a modern base that's closer to the US state of Alaska than it is to Moscow. CNN's Frederick Pleitgen got rare access.
Racing north across the frozen Arctic Sea on a Russian army chopper.
The Russians are making a huge effort to upgrade their military infrastructure in the Arctic. Several of their bases are already fully operational, and right now they're flying us to one of their most modern ones.
They call this base Northern Clover. The Russian army has already deployed coastal defense rockets here and specialized Arctic anti-aircraft systems built to perform in the cold.
This complex is adapted for much harsher weather conditions of the Arctic. It works in temperatures as low as -50 degrees.
It's all part of Vladimir Putin's long-term strategy to dominate the Arctic.
The space has a clear mission to defend and enable Russia's interests in the Arctic North. And as the ice here becomes weaker because of global warming, those economic interests are becoming more important.
The Northern Clover base is in a strategic location in Russia's Arctic Far East. It seems remote until you look at the world from the top and see that this base is one of Russia's closest to U.S. territory. The base can house up to 250 soldiers. Aside from its weapons arsenal, it also has high-powered radars to make sure America and its allies don't come close.
They fly where American fighter jets do not. Norway's aging F-16s on 15-minute alert 24/7 above the Arctic Circle, the front line for the U.S. and NATO. Pilots scramble each and every time Russian military planes are detected. NBC News was given a rare look at the intercept videos they bring back, nuclear-capable Russian aircraft flying in international airspace. Norway shares a 120-mile border with Russia, but says Russian military aircraft fly the full length of their coastline. Over 500 missions a year during the Cold War. After the Soviet Union fell, virtually none. Now Norway says they're back. What is that like to come up behind one of their aircraft?
It is exciting, especially at night, to fly out there.
Major General Lars Amat tracks the Russians from deep inside his underground command center.
I think they're sending strategic messages that they are present, but also that this area is of their strategic interest.
As the Arctic melts, Russia is flooding the region with military and economic resources, signaling the top of the world may become the next big strategic battleground with the West.